What's up, guys and girls? Welcome back to another Impulsive TCG video. Appreciate you stopping by today, talking about Chinese Pokemon cards. These have been going absolutely insane over the past couple weeks. We got the 151, the Gem Mint boxes, like the Gem Horizon boxes. These are going absolutely crazy. I'm just going to break it down in today's video. We're going to talk about promos, we're going to talk about boxes, we're going to be talking about the Gengar Pikachu card. Chinese Pokemon cards have been going crazy, but honestly, I don't know if they're as long-term as people think they are. It seems like a lot of people are banking on that, but I just kind of want to break down, see what my opinion is. So the first question a lot of y'all might have about Chinese Pokemon cards is, why is this happening? Why is this happening now? It's a couple of different factors that factor into this overall hype for Pokemon cards in Chinese is, one, a lack of English Pokemon cards for a lot of English fans has led them to turning to different markets, whether it's Japanese cards, Chinese cards, Korean cards. They just want Pokemon cards and they can't get the English ones because they're getting scalped, bought out, the distribution. There's no way to get English cards, so they're going to other markets. Also, there's other things. There's the hype of new products. The Chinese market is very new and very new and in its infancy for Pokemon, and they're coming out with a lot of new stuff that a lot of English people really like. I've heard that the Chinese people don't like the gem boxes as much, but a lot of English people really do like these boxes. So I know the one with Sprigatito, Gem Volume 1. We got Gem Volume 2 with the Evolutions. We now have the 151 Slims. These have been going absolutely nuclear. And honestly, lack of English cards is a huge problem for the English community, but it's seeped into these Chinese cards being huge for a lot of people that they just want to rip something, and they're cheaper than a lot of English cards. We'll get to that later, but price-wise, they're usually cheaper, at least the volume ones for the gym stuff. Now, these 151 boxes have been going absolutely nuclear lately. When pre-orders were going up, they were like, what, $100 or so a box? That's already absolutely insane for a market that's not super into Pokemon cards. But overall, the prices have spiked, even past these high pre-order prices. They're now looking at like, what, $150 a box? That is absolutely insane. You're paying booster box prices. Well, MSRP booster box, I know a lot of people can, but booster box prices, MSRP, for a Chinese pack of like, what, 15 packs? You know what the odds are of pulling the Gengar Pikachu card, the big chase card that everyone's wanting, which also has had its own issues because people were buying these pre-orders for $900 and now the card is $2,000. Those pre-orders weren't fulfilled. People are now scrambling to try and pick this up for their collection, and like, the card is really cool. Do not get me wrong, the card is absolutely sick. But $2,000 is a lot for, a card that, for a market that's still in its infancy. A lot of people, who knows if this market survives? I mean, Japanese, look at 2 or 3 years ago, everyone was super into Japanese, and besides the super niche stuff that has still continued to do really well, a lot of the Japanese stuff has fallen off as people can get their hands on English. Like, people don't really care as much about Japanese. People, they move on to other things. But as the market kind of slows down a little bit, I don't know if these are going to continue to hold. I think the Gengar Pikachu, I think it will be $1,000 card as the demand weighs and people don't care about it as much and aren't looking for it and aren't as driven by the hype. I think it'll drop back down into that $800 range or so. But even then, that is such an expensive card for what ultimately is like, just a chase card. It's not like a promo or anything that's like regional exclusive, like a poncho or something like that. It's ultimately just a chase card in the set. But, a lot of these Chinese sets don't get reprints from what I've been hearing. I don't know if that's speculation or if that's true. If there is no reprints, then yeah, maybe these are never reprinted and maybe then it ends up being a $5,000 card. Who knows? But it's because of this hype that's driving a lot of people to FOMO into stuff. It's scary to see people out there being like, oh, I have to go pick up the Gengar Pikachu or the Pikachu Gengar. I don't know. It was supposed to have some silly name. I couldn't remember it, but anyway, I would just be careful about it. The 151s is really what is, well, it was the Evolutions before, but the 151 has been the big current hype in the Chinese market. And like I mentioned in the previous part about just the boxes themselves, the big chase here is the Gengar Pikachu. This is an absolutely gorgeous card. I don't know if you haven't seen it, but if not, here it is. Super cool card, super sick, artwork looks amazing, but is it really worth $2,000 for a card you can't read? I feel like a lot of people, Japanese is normally the first thing that they move out of their collection because they don't actually care about it. It's just a monetary value to them. It goes up. They don't really care. I mean, there are people that do. There are people that care about the Chinese card and the artwork, but a lot of people invest and keep things sealed and just want it for the monetary value of it going up, which, isn't a bad thing. but that's ultimately why. So I think in the long term, these won't do super crazy, because as people move off the hype and the hype dies down, people won't care as much. People won't be looking for these cards. They'll be like, yeah, Gengar Pikachu, pretty cool card, but it's nothing like spectacular. But, that leads me into my next point about the other boxes that came out, the gem boxes. These obviously, Volume 1 had the Captain Pikachu. Honestly, a really cool card. I feel like these are actually pretty reasonably priced. I think the full arts are around, I think the Quaxley is around like $10, all the way up to Captain Pikachu being like 150 or so. Honestly, not unreasonable. I think it's still a little bit overpriced. I think that Captain Pikachu would probably be about a $75, $80 card, but it's Pikachu. Can't really say anything about it. Obviously, we have the new Gem Mint 2 volume. It's having its own issues of printing and supply, and those have spiked up to like $60, $70, $80 a box, all because it has an Umbreon in it. And obviously, if you follow the English Pokemon scene, you know that Umbreon is the new official mascot of the Pokemon TCG. Everyone loves Umbreon, which I'm not the biggest Umbreon fan, but a lot of people do like it, so I can respect that. But it has its own hype, and that's driving prices up, which has made more eyes be onto the Chinese market, and instead led to 151 being seen a lot more, and more people knowing about it and being excited for it, and yada yada. It's kind of going in a cycle itself. Also, one of the biggest things that has come out of this Chinese Pokemon scene has been the newest promo from Mew. I don't know if you've seen it. Here it is. But it absolutely looks gorgeous also. It is a stunning card. It looks beautiful. There's only like, 10,000 of these copies in existence. So it's actually a scarce card. There's gonna, once they start getting into collections, once they're all kind of graded and people are, aren't able to find more, the prices will rise. This is a card, I can actually see kind of the hype for it, because it's a limited promo. People are gonna want it because it's a popular Pokemon. It looks very nice, limited quantity. This has also been something that I feel like the Chinese market is definitely kind of getting into, because they've seen what Ponchos and the Japanese exclusives have been able to do for the Japanese scene. So they're trying to do it for the Chinese scene to help grow that as well, which I think is a very smart choice. And I honestly think this Mew promo is absolutely gorgeous. If I had the money, I would pick it up. Personally, I think it looks great. But a lot of people don't have that sort of money, and I certainly am one that doesn't. But anyway, I think this promo at least might actually do well. If we go off of based on what we've seen with the Ponchos, it might also be at a top. Ponchos took a while. They were like $20, $30 for a long time, and then eventually rose up as people realized there wasn't a whole lot of supply of them. This Mew might be the same way, or maybe it's like, we don't really care about the Chinese exclusives, which could happen. If people don't care about the Japanese market all the time, maybe they don't care about the Chinese market, especially once they can get their hands on English cards more readily available. Now, the question you might be asking yourself is, should I be buying Chinese Pokemon cards? And there's a simple answer. Do you like them? Do you think they look cool? Yeah, go ahead and pick them up. Do I think you should be spending your entire budget and investing into these cards with ungodly amounts of money because you think they're going to do well in the next couple weeks, even years? Probably not. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. In fact, I probably will be wrong. I'm not always right. But unless you're really wanting the artwork, I just don't see why you need to want to be in a rush to pick these up. If they start doing well, if they start having, normal cycles, and you can kind of start seeing, okay, these do well long term, these do well short term. Chinese market's still super new to a lot of English people. This is like, it's not like the Japanese market where a lot of people know, okay, if you get the special promo boxes, they do well, keep them sealed, yada, yada, yada. Whereas now people know about that. This is the Chinese market, and people are kind of applying what the Japanese market already knew onto it. Plus, we're in a current hype cycle, so it's kind of a lot of money being thrown around. It's curious to see what's going to be going in 3 years. Will people care about Chinese? Probably some people, but I don't think everyone will. I don't think the current people that all want these Pikachus and stuff like that will care about it in 2 or 3 years, because they can't read the card. They can look at the artwork, but not everyone cares about the artwork, which is, it sucks to say, but it's true. Not everyone does. So I would just be careful about buying these, especially after the prices have just been going straight up, like nonstop. I would just be careful about it. Buy what you want, but that's what my take is on it. So yeah, that's pretty much the Chinese market in a nutshell right now. It is super hype-filled, super speculative. A lot of people throwing money into it, buying the Gengar Pikachu, getting the 151 Slims. It can burn you out, especially if you're spending $150 on 15 packs. That's like $10 a pack. It's like as much as you're paying for English packs at that point. Just don't get burnt out. Be careful with your money and what you're spending on. Make sure it's something you actually want. It's worthwhile to say. If you want to pick it up if you have the disposable income. Honestly, Chinese market, pretty cool. I like the artworks. I like the Sprigatito artwork. I like the Captain Pikachu. I think they're pretty cool cards. Not something I'm going to go out of my way to grab, but You know, if I come across it, I'm like, it's a good deal. Sure, why not? But that's my take on it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like and subscribe, helps me out a ton. Join the Discord, link in the description. If you made it to the end of the video, let me know. I would appreciate it. But I think that's going to be it for tonight. Let me know what you think. Appreciate y'all watching. Thank you.